Amnesty International criticizes the European Union-Turkey deal to end the flow of migrants to Greece. Nigeria announces plans to overhaul the oil industry. In using bees to deter elephants from feasting on South Africa's protected marula fruit. Africa 54 starts right now. Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori. This is Africa 54. Somalia police say at least 3 of their officers were killed Wednesday after a car bomb was detonated near a police building in Mogadishu. The driver of the car was taken into custody after being seriously injured by the blast, according to the Mogadishu police commissioner. Police are investigating the attack. In a conflicting statement, a spokesman for Al-Shabaab says the terrorist group claimed responsibility and told Reuters that 10 police officers were killed. Wednesday's attack followed one on Monday in the city of Beledweyne, in which at least 6 people, including 2 African Union soldiers, were injured in an explosion at an airport. Police officials say they arrested 20 suspects in connection with Monday's explosion. Now, the European Union and Turkey appear closer to striking a deal to try to end the flow of migrants crossing to Greece. The details are still to be finalized at another migration summit later this month. Well, meanwhile, the agreement is already being criticized by the human rights group Amnesty International as inhumane. Henry Ridgewell has our report.
After talks in Brussels lasting late into Monday night, EU Council President Donald Tusk declared that the days of irregular migration to Europe are over.
The irregular flow of migrants along the Western Balkan route have now come to an end. To facilitate this change, we agreed to help Greece and to deploy a massive humanitarian assistance.
In principle, all irregular migrants arriving in Greece from Turkey will be returned. For each Syrian national who is sent back, Turkey wants Europe to accept an officially recognized Syrian refugee from its territory. Asylum applications by other nationalities would be dealt with case by case.
So with this game-changing position, in fact, our objective is to discourage illegal migration, to prevent human smugglers, to help people who want to come to Europe through encouraging legal migration in a disciplined and regular manner.
Thousands of migrants are stuck on Greece's border with Macedonia, as Balkan states have all but closed the route north. Many are unsure of their next move.
Now I don't know, because if they say that you should go to Turkey, I will go to Turkey. It's better. Yeah. If I go ahead, I should pay a lot for a smuggle. Yeah.
In return for accepting returned migrants, Turkey has asked for a doubling of EU aid to help it deal with the crisis to $6.6 billion. Ankara also wants visa-free travel and EU accession talks to be sped up. Amnesty International has criticised the deal, saying that each resettlement place offered by Europe would be contingent upon another Syrian risking their life by crossing the sea to Greece.
If we're going to start seeing Turkey being used effectively as Europe's border guard, that has real risks and dangers for refugees themselves. By no means is Turkey a safe country for refugees and migrants.
British amphibious warships have joined several European and NATO-led vessels patrolling the Aegean Sea between Turkey and the Greek islands. But that's not the answer, says Amnesty's Van Gulik.
The only way we're going to stop smugglers from pushing people onto boats is by offering refugees alternative ways to get to Europe.
The UN Refugee Agency has also expressed concern over the proposal, criticising any arrangement involving the blanket return of individuals from one country to another. Henry Ridgewell for VOA News, London.
The experts say Africa could be the world's next bread basket. Now, Africa's farms, which are usually small plots run by individuals, have the capacity to maximize yields of diverse crops to feed themselves, their families, and their communities, but only if they are equipped with knowledge of best agricultural practices and basic inputs such as improved seeds. Now, for more about the power of farmers in the fight against global hunger, I'm joined by Monica Maigeri. Oxfam's Nigerian female food hero. Monica, welcome to Africa 54. Welcome. Now, first, Monica, let me ask you how you actually got to be Oxfam's hero.
I am Monica Joshua Makori from Kaduna State, Nigeria, in local government called Zangon Kataf, in a village, Madakia. There is an NGO that group all female farmers or small-scale farmers in our community. They had about Oxfam competition. So they brought forms, many of the forms. One woman, Naomi Mamang, and I got the forms, and we filled, but others refused. That they are tired, they are being deceived all the time, that they will not fill the forms. But the two of us filled the forms.
And you got recognized.
Yes. And
now, tell me now about what actually you do on your farm, how you've contributed to helping your community produce and enjoy more from the farms.
I produce maize, rice, soya beans, and in addition with poultry, broilers and layers.
What are you doing that is kind of different than what most farmers do in order to make sure you produce more?
Okay. I have learned this method of spacing of maize, then adding inoculants to the soya beans. I also practice how to plant at the right time.
Exactly.
Then apply the fertilizer, especially with maize, at the right time. So all the practices that are taught to me, I put them into practice. And that has brought a difference from other small-scale female farmers.
So you're able to produce, feed your family, and what do you do with the extra?
Okay. With the extra, I sell it out to the middlemen who come to our farmlands because we have problems of transportation.
Exactly.
Our roads are bad. They come to purchase the excess, and they make more gain than us.
Yeah. So if you could take it directly to the market, it would be even more. But at least you're helping your family by making more money. Question here, and this is important to all the small-scale farmers.
Yeah.
Should they see their small farm as a limitation to being great farmer?
The small farms, if they improve in using the new methods or the mechanized system of farming, they will do more and they will need more farms.
Yes. Very quickly, you come from a very dry area in Kaduna.
Yes.
How do you manage without so much rainfall and water?
We manage to only cultivate during rainy season. And in case of droughts, we lose a lot because we don't have irrigation pumps and no water or boreholes by our farms. We only have a small river or stream. Our farms are far away to be able to pipe water to our farms. So we lose at that period.
So this is something you would wish the government to do something
Yes, we wish that the government will make boreholes in our lands so that we'll be able to cultivate. And more so, many of the females are denied land. We don't have access to land. If we do have, we have to pay money to hire the land for our cultivation.
Great, Monica. And, to know that you and millions of other African women feed the continent.
Yes.
And even beyond. It's really something commendable. Thank you very much for joining us today here.
Yeah.
While Monica Makori is Oxfam's Nigerian female food hero. Coming back here to the U.S., the presidential race, in the presidential race, Democrat Bernie Sanders won a narrow upset victory over frontrunner Hillary Clinton in the Michigan primary Tuesday night, injecting new life into his campaign. Meanwhile, Republican Donald Trump continued his winning ways, and our viewers Jim Malone wraps up Tuesday's results.
Bernie Sanders pulled an upset in Michigan over frontrunner Hillary Clinton and sent a signal that the Democratic race, which Clinton leads, could go on for some time.
And what tonight means is that the Bernie Sanders campaign, the people's revolution that we are talking about, the political revolution that we are talking about, is strong in every part of the country.
Clinton won an easy victory in Mississippi and will split delegates with Sanders in Michigan. She also maintains a big lead in the delegate count heading into next week's primaries in 5 big states.
If you work for me and if you vote for me, I will work my heart out for you. I will work every single day.
In the Republican race, Donald Trump took another step toward winning the party's presidential nomination with clear victories in Mississippi and Michigan. Trump took satisfaction that he prevailed despite a recent barrage of negative TV ads.
They've attacked me viciously, and every single one who's attacked me is gone. And I'm very proud of that because that's what we should have for our country.
Ohio Governor John Kasich and Texas Senator Ted Cruz trailed Trump in Michigan. Kasich urged supporters to look ahead to next week's primary in his home state.
So I think the people are beginning to reward a positive campaign, one that they say to their children, this is the way to conduct yourself in politics. Just wait 1 week from tonight. We are going to win the state of Ohio, and it will be a whole new ballgame.
Ted Cruz won the Idaho primary and took heart from new national polls that showed Trump slipping.
We know that just a few minutes ago, a new Wall Street Journal poll came out that had us in a statistical tie for first place nationwide with Donald Trump.
You believed in me once. I am asking you to believe again.
Senator Marco Rubio hoped for victory next week, a last stand in his home state of Florida, despite trailing well behind in the Tuesday races. Florida and Ohio are the big prizes among the 5 states holding primaries next Tuesday, a day that could make or break White House hopes in both political parties. Jim Malone, VOA News, Washington.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we covered. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa54. And check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Find me on Twitter at VOA Vincent Makori. Coming up, Nigeria announced it wants to end refined petroleum exports. Stay with us.
How do you see the world?
I see countries in turmoil.
I see our planet changing.
I see people at peace.
No matter how you see the world, you'll get an unbiased and uncensored view of it on Voice of America. On television, radio, online, and mobile. In more than 40 languages all day, every day. Millions of people tune us in.
How do I see the world? On Voice of America.
Welcome back. Nigeria has announced it wants to end refined petroleum exports within 18 months. Now for the details, Africa 54 business correspondent Jill Malandrino joins us live from New York. Hello, Jill.
Good morning, Vincent. This is a pretty big deal, particularly as Nigeria is Africa's largest oil producer. Ibe Kichikwu, Minister of Petroleum, said on Tuesday that the state's oil company, Nigeria National Petroleum Corp., would be forced to restructure into 7 units headed by CEOs appointed by President Buhari. Now, this follows a statement that was said last week it would be split into 30 independent companies.
Now, why would Nigeria consolidate its operations?
Well, Nigeria's 4 refineries have never reached full production for the usual reasons: sabotage and maintenance, causing the country to rely on expensive imported fuel for most of its energy needs. As of now, Nigeria is one of the top 15 oil importers globally, even though it has abundant resources. President Buhari's goal is to rein in on corruption across the board and make Nigeria a more economically independent nation, crude oil production at the heart of it.
Now, Jill, have there been any repercussions with this announcement?
Yeah, well, workers on Wednesday morning shut down operations because they were reportedly not consulted before the decision was taken and announced. Naturally, workers fear that a restructuring will result in job losses, but the minister said there is no mass attempt to let people go unless for reasons of poor performance and fraud. So this is a big but. But Buhari has made it crystal clear that corruption will be targeted and economic independence are top priorities for his administration.
Well, thank you very much, Jill.
Thank you.
That's Africa 54 business correspondent Jill Malandrino reporting live from New York. Well, power plants that work with concentrated solar power use a special molten salt to convert the sun's heat into steam. The steam turns the generators that produce electricity. Researchers at the Georgia Institute of Technology say using molten metal instead of salt may increase the efficiency of the generators. The innovative design was presented at the recent Energy Summit in Washington. VOA's George Putich reports.
While water circulates in the scale model of a concentrated solar power plant, a full-size plant uses molten salt. But the man behind the radical new design says using tin instead of molten salt could make the process dramatically more efficient.
The main thing that makes it better than the state-of-the-art is really the fact that by pushing up the temperature, we're able to use a higher efficiency power cycle. And the higher efficiency means for the same size field, you get more power out.
A molten tin can get hotter than molten salt, but it cannot flow through metal pipes. Experimenting in his lab, Henry found that it easily flows through pipes and valves made of graphite.
Because it's machinable, so it allows us to make complicated components like this where you can thread them still, so you can still use mechanical interfaces we're used to.
His design uses ceramics that can also withstand high temperatures, do not corrode, and do not react with tin. With good insulation, tin can stay liquid even overnight. So far, all the critical parts have been tested.
We can pump liquid metal, we can valve it and control it, we can bond these tubes together without getting leaks.
Taking into account the size of the required mirror field and the cost of the special salt, Henry expects using molten tin should reduce the overall cost of building a concentrated solar heat plant by as much as 30%. George Putich, VOA News, Washington.
Many scientists say the Earth is in the midst of its 6th mass extinction. They blame the soaring rate of species loss on global climate change, pollution, and habitat loss. In response, some conservationists say introducing new plants and animals or reintroducing old ones will slow the trend. Others fear such rewilding efforts will harm the environment in unintended ways. VOA's Roseanne Scobble reports.
Wild horses, oxen, and reindeer are returning to Siberia for the first time in 10,000 years. Their new home is Pleistocene Park, where, in a process called rewilding, Russian scientist Sergei Zimov is recreating an ecosystem from the Ice Age.
Horse, muskox, reindeer will break the bushes. They will eat them. They will fertilize the soil. The grass will begin to grow. There, most of the trees will dry up, and there will be meadowlands of steppe vegetation.
But that goal is a long way off. Currently, the park supports fewer than 200 animals. In a study in the journal Cell Biology, University of Copenhagen's David Nogues warns against rewilding without greater understanding of the consequences.
To understanding which way ecosystem works, how they might react when you introduce a new species,
What are the economic costs of rewilding in comparison to other more classic conservation approaches?
The recovery of wolves in America's Yellowstone National Park is often hailed as a rewilding success story. The wolf population has multiplied fivefold since 91 wolves were reintroduced in the park in the mid-1990s. The animals triggered an unexpected ecological chain reaction that continues today. The wolves keep the elk away, which allows the willows they eat to grow. The trees provide food and shelter for other animals. While wolves are closely monitored in Yellowstone, their expansion outside the park has angered ranchers. Cattle losses have increased with the wolf population. Rancher Richard Kinke says he has few options because wolves are federally protected.
Certainly I would like to see the controls loosened up on us so that we can deal with wolves.
The University of Copenhagen study argues that decision makers must consider the best science before implementing any rewilding program. It calls on policymakers and the public to first reduce threats to extinction, such as climate change, deforestation, and invasive species. Roseanne Skirbel, VOA News, Washington.
Well, it's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54, bees can deter elephants from feasting on South Africa's protected marula fruit. We'll be right back.
If you've just joined us, I'm Mariama Diallo, and here is a quick recap of today's headlines. In Somalia, at least 3 police officers are killed as Islamist militants set off a car bomb in Mogadishu. In Tunisia, security forces killed 6 alleged terrorists near Ben Gurdain after deadly jihadist attack on the town left at least 54 people dead. In Nigeria, Africa's top oil producer aims to end refined petroleum imports within 18 months, according to Minister of State for Petroleum Emmanuel Ibe Kachiku. In the Central African Republic, yesterday's International Women's Day celebrations connect Christian and Muslim women who have experienced years of violence. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
This is BizBeat.
With fur prices at 10-year lows, fashion designers are testing the catwalks in hopes the fur market is warming up. Mark Oaten, CEO of the International Fur Federation, is optimistic because models wrapped in mink and celebrities cuddled with fox are good signs of things to come.
So that normally means that in about a year's time, the shops will be full of fur.
Fur sales in Britain are strong, but the world's largest exporter, producer, and buyer of fur, China, saw a 5% drop in revenue and a 15% drop in exports in 2015 from the previous year. Still, Henry's son, general manager of Hong Kong Fur Factory, says now's a golden opportunity to place orders.
I think when the economy picks up a little bit, price will go again and business will be good.
Despite anti-fur campaigns, the fur industry is a multi-billion-dollar business that employs about 1 million people worldwide. For VOE's BizBeat, I'm Philip Alexio.
Welcome back, and here's what's trending. An elite dog show in an unexpected place. From small pugs to big German Shepherds and Rottweilers, dogs of almost every size and breed compete for the big prize in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. The show is organized by Kennel Club Pakistan's regional committee. In total, there are around 20 different breeds participating. Showing off prize pups isn't just fun for proud owners. A collection of keen-eyed spectators is keeping watch too. The competition's top judge says that while there is a high standard of dogs in the competition, it is the handlers who need to improve their skills a lot. And that is what is trending today. Well, a charity in South Africa is using bees to deter elephants from feasting on one of the country's protected species, the marula fruit. As well as being a popular elephant snack, the fruit is used to make beer and is the core ingredient of Amarula liquor, a successful South African export. VOA's Caroline Turner has more.
It's summer in South Africa, so elephants feast on their favorite food, the marula fruit. Some say elephants enjoy getting drunk on the fruit as it ferments, but scientists say they don't eat enough to have an effect. The elephant's love for the fruit is leading to vast quantities of it being eaten. Scientist Michelle Henley is the co-founder of the NGO Elephants Alive, which works to protect and improve elephant-human interactions. She is running a project to deter elephants from damaging the marula trees.
And the elephants really, really enjoy the fruit of marulas. I've seen a bull guarding a tree and chasing anything that happened to come past that tree away from the tree.
Henley's team is experimenting with bees. Elephants don't like the buzzing or being stung. The charity says the bees will produce honey that can help support the nature reserve. Protecting the marula fruit is also welcomed by locals who have commercial and recreational uses for it. Selena Raciel collects marula fruit to make her own marula beer. Besides selling the beer, the community enjoys drinking it.
We collect marula in order to make beer. We don't add sugar. It's a natural product. We only add water. Then we drink and get happy. During marula season, we don't buy commercially made beer. We just make our own beer.
According to Professor Twine, the fruit has many more practical uses.
Obviously, the fruits are eaten. They're used to brew traditional beer. People also use it to make jam, and the edible kernel is also highly valued. And then there are a whole range of medicinal uses of the plant. It's also valuable for shade.
The fruit is also the key ingredient in a South African cream liqueur called amarula, an additional source of income to the local community. Murma Products makes a marula pulp at their factory. The general manager says 54 tons of pulp is produced every day during the marula season.
We basically buy about 2,600 tons of raw fruit every year, and we send down 2,100 tons of pulp, marula fruit pulp, down to the Cape where the amarula process continues.
The marula pulp is fermented in Stellenbosch, followed by distillation, then maturation in oak barrels for 2 years. Cream is then blended to produce the unique flavor.
So it's got the fruit, that tropical type character, the lively character on top. And then it's got underneath, it's got a base of vanilla, sweet spices. That's from the 2 years in French oak. That's extracted from the wood.
The marula tree is found in many parts of sub-Saharan Africa. It is a protected species. But hungry elephants don't always follow the rules. Carolyn Turner, VOA News.
And that's our show for today. Have a good night.
Welcome to English in a Minute. You would think that an elephant would be easy to see, but that is not the case with this idiom.
Elephant in the room.
I really don't want to go to the meeting today.
Why? Just sit there and nod your head like I do.
But nobody is willing to talk about the elephant in the room.
What elephant?
The fact that our company has no money, broke.
Oh, that elephant in the room. Yeah, don't bring that up. Nobody wants to talk about that.
An elephant in the room is a problem that everyone knows about but does not want to talk about. It also refers to a truth everyone knows but ignores. A problem shouldn't be ignored, and neither should an elephant in the room with you. And that's English in a Minute.